Hello everyone, and welcome to another Wild Edibles episode, where today we'll be taking a look at a plant that is incredibly common, but you might not have known was edible. This is Purslane, a common introduced weed here in North America. What's especially interesting about this plant is that, well, it's a succulent, which aren't very common around here. I don't even know of any native succulents. And it also pretty much breaks every single general rule about wild edibles. This plant has shiny green leaves with a bit of thickness to them, it is a succulent, and a smooth red stem. Traits like these are typically associated with poisonous plants, but there's always exceptions. What's additionally interesting, and also very important to know, is that there is a poisonous look-alike that often grows in association with this plant. And this is spotted spurge. This is toxic, but what's also very interesting is that it looks much more like a wild edible. Its leaves are matte, and there's little tiny white hairs on the stems of the plant. So yeah, a double exception to the general rule. But this plant is pretty easy to distinguish from spotted spurge because, one, this plant is a succulent, whereas spurge is not. And also, this plant tends to grow up a bit more. It'll spread out, same as spurge, but this particular plant tends to get some height. Both plants often grow in disturbed soil or in cracks in pavement, rocks, that sort of thing. But you'll notice that the spurge just spreads out. It doesn't really gain any height, just creeps along the ground. Whereas Purslane has far more of a vertical component, at least comparatively. And as for how this plant tastes, well, let's give it a try, shall we? First things first, let's address the elephant in the room. New haircut. It's a heat wave, and I didn't feel like going to the hairdresser, so I just took the electric razor, and it's going to be a little bit of a mess for a while. I haven't decided whether I want the goatee, full beard, whatever. It's hot, I don't really care. But back to the topic at hand. This is, as far as I can tell, actually native to North Africa and the Mediterranean, which explains why it's doing so well this year. And it's actually eaten there, if nothing for the fact that it is actually very, very nutritious. But let's see how it tastes. Alright. Not bad. I can't place my finger on it. Huh. It doesn't taste bad, but I can't really figure out what it tastes like. So after a lot of deliberation, I think I've got a decent idea of what this tastes like. In my opinion, this tastes like a cross between iceberg lettuce and clover. If you haven't had clover, that's sort of like, if you imagine what grass clippings smell like, it tastes like that, but in a very good way. And it has a bit of a sour note to it here, but also a bit of a slimy texture, but not in a horrible way. The stem is also edible, but that has a far more vegetable flavor to it. I can definitely see why some people might not like this. It has textural problems that some people might disagree with, and especially the stem might be a little too vegetal for people, but I don't mind it. If I had to eat it, I would, and I could definitely see eating it for the nutritional benefits. And actually trying the stem again and again, I think I'm growing to like it. It tastes almost exactly like a slightly sour baby corn. Well, that's all for today. Hope you guys learned something and enjoyed. See ya.